I remember very vividly. First of all, my own mother. When we were in Banaras, my mother had a arrow. They had gone to see Ram Leela, and an arrow went through her eye, and eyeball had come out, and they had put it back again in there. Then they took her to Bombay to Dr. Dagan, eye specialist, and they said we had to remove the eye and put a glass eye. My daddy said, no, I don't want that. I will treat her for homeopathy. So brought her back to Banaras and treated her with homeopathy. It took about 2 years, and in 2 years' time, her eyesight came back completely.
On one, the I am the who have Auntie Radha here with me. The Auntie who are one. It better who you about what the game fire the Munje. That died in our my part is about your name with me the Monday. How about he a fire?
Oh, it's my pleasure to talk to you, my dear Anand, and it's a question to my heart. My father, Dr. Munje, was my father, real father. I loved him very much, and he loved me very much too. He loved all his children and really careful, caring for us and loving us and taking care of us and making sure that we got what we needed, specifically education wise and training wise, you know, and made sure that we had good food also.
Would you be share your memory of him in your disease this homeopathy?
So I remember very vividly. First of all, my own mother. When we were in Banaras, my mother had a arrow. They had gone to see Ram Leela, and an arrow went through her eye, and eyeball had come out, and they had put it back again in there. Then they took her to Bombay to Dr. Dagan, eye specialist, and they said we had to remove the eye and put a glass eye. My daddy said, no, I don't want that. I will treat her for homeopathy. So brought her back to Banaras and treated her with homeopathy. It took about 2 years, and in 2 years' time, her eyesight came back completely. And she had the eyesight until the time she passed away, both eyes. She used specs later on, but it was okay. So that was my first experience with him for homeopathy. Of course, we were all brought up in homeopathy only, but experience I'm talking about. There was one more case I can tell you is Mr. Kalka Singh Bhatna, this thing. Okay, he was a man who was sent by some of the doctors in Kanpur. That is in Kanpur now. That go and have Dr. Munje treat your wife who had uterine cancer, cancer of uterus. And he told him that when you go to for your wife, please don't listen from him about the religion. Only talk to him about treatment. And so Kalka Singh came and daddy was treating him, his wife, and it took about 1.5 years. And within 1.5 years, her uterine cancer was cured and she conceived. She got a baby after that. Now, with this thing, Kalka Singh was wondering what happened. He never talked to him about religion. So one day he asked daddy that, Dr. Munje, we were told that you are teaching some religion, talking about some religion. What about that? I never heard from you. What daddy said was that in my clinic and my work time, I do my work and see patients. And my off time, I can talk about the faith, about religion, what I am believing in. So you can come after 10 or 10:30, then we can talk about it. And Kalka Singh came and he used to come for every day, every night, whenever he could, after 10:30, and they will talk until late in the morning. Okay? And they will talk about the Baha'i faith. Finally, Kalka Singh became Baha'i, and his whole family became Baha'i.
The he prepare many for his being him.
Yes, he did. For not only for thing. Even Kalka Singh, I think so. What he used to do is this thing. You know, homeopathy believes in similar as Corantus. Same thing which causes sickness can cure the sickness. Okay? So what he used to do is, he used to take the tissue of the person and smash it up and use it in alcohol, dissolve it in alcohol, and then he potentize it one after the another, quite some potencies, and then he gives the potentized medicine to the person. The same thing from her or his body tissue of the area where it is sick, or blood sample, or sputum, or whatever it was, and then he will prepare kind of a, you can say, vaccine, but it was a treatment. And then he used to give that, and he will, of course, he has to see which potency will work in which case. So he'll have to keep on changing potency until he found that his response is coming. And then he used to give that. That was one thing. Second thing, he also prepared lots of medicines, invented a lot of medicines, That like BioVision was an eye drops, which was for cataract and used to remove cataract. Booty eye drops, which was for infection of the eye and lots of other things in the eye. And he used to prepare that. Then he had something called dental gum, which was for the teeth and the tooth and gum, and mouth. This thing, it was the toothpaste. He used to prepare that one. Then he had this thing, Nuvita, Bone Vita, black Bone Vita. It was called, not Nuvita, it was called what? Nuvita only. Okay, he used to prepare, and that was very good for health also. For the people used to, I know the Kanpur hotel was there in Kanpur, who used to take this and make ice cream from that, and they used to sell the ice cream, was very famous. So he used to prepare lots of medicine for patients and give them.
But he go deeply from the
Yes, he would, because if you are open-minded, only you can work. So he was always open-minded. Any suggestion from anybody would come. He would ready to listen, and he was a great listener. He would listen until the other person has stopped speaking. He will wait for him to be able to explain more if they have to explain more. Then he will gently speak to them and tell them, how he appreciated what they helped him or suggested to him, and he is going to try it out and see in case his assistant. So that was a way he was working, because being a Baha'i, he knew that we have to respect every human being's suggestions, because we believe that every human soul has capacity to learn and to give ideas that create new things. So he used to appreciate people's these things, suggestions, including mine. I was a young girl, but it listened to my suggestions too.
Have you or other doctor yeah, if we need a book for evening?
Uh, you know, I did not use the technique what you are talking about, because he was doing it, but I have known others using it. When I was in Africa, in Kenya, I met one doctor, who gave me a book, and then she explained to me that book was on orthomolecular treatment, okay? And I took that book and read, and in that there was a suggestion, a name of one of the Dr. Randolph in Chicago. So when I went to Chicago, I went to see him, and I found out that they were using the same technique. People who were allergic to something or were reacting to something, they would take that particular thing which they were reacting to, potentize them, and make them several dilutions, and then give them dilution and see which dilution will act on them. And that was the treatment. And I learned from him that he used to treat lots of patients in that. Okay, so that was orthomolecular medicine, and I was really amazed. So I sent the book to Daddy also. When I got that book, I sent it to Daddy to see that he could see that it was something what we believe. Of course, he did not know it was homeopathy. He had discovered on his own, maybe, but it was the same what you call it, the basic principle behind it.
I I heard that my grandma was also a year from there. I would love to hear more about how she is helping me.
Yes, you are right. My mother was also a very good homeopath. And actually, when Daddy was not there, because he used to be mostly out on some kind of activity or work for the Baha'i faith. So the mummy was the one who's taking care of the health center, dispensary, and also for the other activities, in the house. So she used to run the clinic, and she used to treat all the patients, what my daddy used to treat, or new ones also, those who will come. And she had a very good memory and very good understanding. So she were many times on his spot, she said, this medicine should work on this one. Daddy will look in the book and say he would not want to give medicine off his head. But mummy used to do that. She said, no, in this case, this medicine will work. And it used to work because she had understanding, I don't know, sixth sense we call it, no? She was a very good homeopathic doctor, yeah.
I heard she not only gave out medicine, but she also helped with, with the patient.
Not only to the patient, she used to serve food to everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
She was, she just, her heart was very big. Her hands are always open. She used to give food to, well, I will tell you, when we were growing up, I would see that mummy cooking a big cooker,
Mm.
okay, full of food. And I would wonder, who is going to eat that? We're only few of us. But lo and behold, when the lunchtime came, there were people who would come and eat, and she would be serving them all. Okay? And when one time what happened, she came to visit us in Kenya. She stayed with us for about 3 months. And she was there in the house. I used to work in the hospital, so I did not see her in the daytime. Only night time I used to see her, or early morning. So when she left, after about 6 months of her leaving, one day the people who bring the garbage truck, they come to pick up the garbage, no? Otherwise, the garbage truck coming on our lane. Our lane, it was because you are on a university campus. So on our campus, on my lane, after me, there was only one other house. Bangalore, it was big Bangalore. And then the garbage people will stop there, put their truck there and stop. So my mother will call them, wash up your hands and tea, and come and have some lunch with us. They used to come 3 times a week. And this 3 times a week, she would cook food with her own hand and feed them every day, every time they came. So 3 months they had good meals for my mother. So they came to ask me one day, when is the mother coming back? I said, my mother, why are they asking? So I did not know. I said, I don't know when she's coming back, but whenever she comes, I'll let you know. Then the lady who was working for me, Dorcas, she told me, no, she told me, you know why they are asking you this? I said, I don't know. They said, your mother used to give them food every time they pass from here. They came here to pick up the garbage. She will make them stop your vehicle, leave it there, wash up your hands and things, and come and sit. And will give. There were 7, 8 of them, and they will all be fed food cooked by her own hand. So that was my mother. At home also, she had one lady, we used to call them Rani, an old lady, yeah, and she used to make sure cook food. Our neighbors' children, they would come and have. So she had the open heart and open hand and feed them, cook by her own hand and feed them, and really tasty food.
You are also a wonderful doctor. What kind of what he for you?
You see, that's a very good question. My parents, both of them being homeopathic doctors, they sent me to medical college in Kanpur to study allopathy. Okay, I studied 5 years of allopathy, and then I studied 3 more years for general surgery, and I became a general surgeon. So they had no prejudice against this thing, but they knew science is science. Okay, and then left it to me to whatever I wanted to do, whether I want to use homeopathy or use allopathy. And I used to, of course, because I was working for the hospital and government hospitals, I had to use allopathy only. I couldn't use homeopathy in my work when I was working for the government. And I worked for the government in India. And then I went to Africa. So I worked for the government only in Uganda first and then in Kenya. So all these places, I had to do only allopathy. But I had the background of mine was that I knew homeopathic verse. So when I came back to Panchgani and I started to work in New Era High School, there were children. So I said, for children, homeopathy is best. And my daddy used to send me the books on homeopathy. He gave me some books sent to me to study and teach them. And I knew how he used to study. So I still have his books with me. And up till now, I'm using homeopathy. Actually, in my school, many people think that I am a homeopathy doctor. So I had to tell them, no, I'm not a homeopathy doctor. I know homeopathy, only part of it, but I'm an allopathy doctor. But I have found results are good with homeopathy.
He he was a helper in their beginning. what was the from the old man who eat the pig?
Very good question. Actually, when he was a young boy, his father, you know, told him that Baha'u'llah has advised people to study all the religions because we believe all the religions are one. To study all the religions and if possible in original language. And then get so deep in them that you are able to quote from them and talk to them in their own way, in their own language, in their own from their own scriptures. So Daddy took this to his heart, and he studied all the major religions which were available at that time: Hinduism, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Baha'i faith, Babi faith, then what do you call it, Abraham's religion, and also this Zoroastrianism, uh, then this Shintoism, and all of these, which are existing religions. And he studied the books in original language. Okay, Guru Granth Sahib, also he studied that. So all of these he studied in original languages. And then he used them to teach. So when he will teach to the people, of course, first of all, he would only talk about religion to people who would want to learn, who would want to know. If there is a hearing ear, then only he will speak. He won't go and speak to anybody, you know. So that is how I was telling you that Kalka Singh, when he wanted to learn, so
Yeah.
he asked question, then he told him about the faith.
Mm.
Otherwise, no. But individually, of course, in public meeting and thing, he will speak openly. That was natural. Okay, but it will be so convincing, and he can speak for hours at a time, and he can answer all the questions with the queries which the people had patiently. He had no rush. He had he was a what to call it, the embodiment of patience. You know, such a great patient man he was, and it was a good thing. And I know my brothers also, your father and my other brother Mohan. We learned from him how to be patient, how to listen to other people, and also about religion. So many things what I know about religion is not of my own studies, but of my father's knowledge, which we used to hear from the very young age. So lots of things I know from him, and I've been able to use it too. And of course, I study also that just because Baha'u'llah has given us this advice. This is actually a law that we should read the writings every day, morning and evening, and delve into it. So we do study ourselves also. We have to.
I heard he the healing word from every who shed some light on that.
Yes, good question. Yeah, he had translated the hidden words of Baha'u'llah from Arabic as well as from Persian into English. Not only into Sanskrit, sorry, I made a mistake. From English translation was also available to him, and from Persian and Arabic. So he translated them into Sanskrit. And when they were taken to one of the professors in Ferguson College in Pune, he said, he was a scholar of Sanskrit, said, first of all, it reads just like the Gita and just like the his Sanskrit books in the original Sanskrit literature of the religion. Second thing he said was that to his knowledge, there has nobody translated anything from their language to Sanskrit. From Sanskrit, they are translating into other languages. So our religious books are translated in all the languages, but nothing was translated into Sanskrit. So he was really impressed and said, it just reads like Gita. So he had translated, yes. Because as I said, he had knowledge of the language and he understood the hidden words very well.
he wrote many other books in the name some
The one book what he wrote was The Whole World is But One Country. You know, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
yeah,
Is in Hindi and English also. Whole World is One Country. Another is a pamphlet which he wrote, which is 1844, the pinpoint target of all the religions. Okay, that was another one. Then he wrote, uh, actually, I don't remember all the books what he wrote, but there are. And then he wrote this thing, Reincarnation Mystery Revealed,
yeah.
which was the latest one, which is the book, quite a thick book, about reincarnation, what the Hindus believe, and how this is explained, and how it is not correct, because what Hindu believe in what is said in the holy books is different. So he has revealed the mystery that what is written in the holy books itself. Okay, then also about the idols and idolaters and things, the worshipping in gods and goddesses, and he had explained that also. Uh, so there are books which he wrote, yeah. And he wrote many stories, many poetries in Hindi, English, Persian, Urdu. He used to go to Kavi Sammelan to submit songs. He used to go to mushairas, and go and give his shairi. So he was a very well known, but the more than 100 songs he must have written, and quite many in English also, and also in Urdu, Gujarati, Persian. So it was a versatile man. Yeah.
He traveled in of the world who did the Balkan. How did he manage women in bed with his medical appointment?
Good question. you know, he went to teach the faith, or he was invited to many countries, not all over the world, but many countries in the world, correct? Okay. And what he used to do is this, he had a bag of medicines and medical books also he'll take with him. So he'll always have homeopathic medicine or stock with him, which he can use it when he was in traveling and treat the patients. So that was one thing he would do. Second thing is there that because my mother used to take care of the dispensary where he and his work in the Kanpur, so he didn't have to worry for that. My mother would be taking care of all the work in Kanpur. Second, and one thing. Second thing, the manufacturing also, he had taught manufacturing to one of his compounders who could manufacture.
Mm.
And also we had learned, me and my brothers, both of us, all three of us knew how to manufacture those things, what he used to manufacture, and fix it up and make in the box and label it and everything. We had learned that. So we used to do that for him. In those days, automatic things were not there. It had to be all handwork.
Can you be the uh, uh, that table he found very good.
Yes, he received, actually, he was in communication with the beloved guardian from the very young age. Okay. And he must have received about, I understand, 37 or 36, something such tablets from the guardian. Okay. And we have made the Xerox copy and or this and send it to the Holy Land. At that time only he did it in his own lifetime. But when it was asked by the House of Justice that we should send all the documents which we had. And I think original must be with you all in Delhi. Or yeah, Faridabad. Yeah.
Would you be the of about him mother go in his life and her family?
Okay. Yes, that's a very good question. See, his mother was a great scholar, okay, like his father. His mother was born in Gujarat and was born to a family. The father was Muslim and the mother was Hindu. In those days, Hindu Muslims used to get married was not so much difficult and was not banned or something. So her mother was uh, Hindu and father was Muslim. So she was taught Quran Sharif from the very young age because she was a very smart woman. So his father really loved her. And as I say that what happened when she was born, her father really progressed tremendously, materially also and spiritually also. So he really thought that she was a blessing for the family. So because of that, he made sure that she was given the best education, and she did. So she had learned the Quran Sharif by heart, which is called Hafiz Quran. Okay, and then she was married at the age of 13. That is what usually in those days they used to do. And by the age of 15, she had one daughter. Okay, and unfortunately, within 2 years of that, her husband passed away. So then she and by that time they were already transferred to Bombay. She was in Bombay, and she decided not to marry again and have take care of the daughter, and that she used to teach the Muslim girls and ladies Quran Sharif as or this thing, because this is a, a law in Islam that you learn the Quran Sharif, whatever you can learn, what they teach. So she used to be a Munyani, they call it. She used to teach them. And she used to also do Fatihas. Somebody passes away or something, that's what she'll go and say prayers for them and things. So she was a kind of a Islamic teacher. And when her daughter became 13, she got married and she left her house and went. Now my grandma was alone. Then she wanted to go for pilgrimage, Muslim, Makkah and Medina. But Islam doesn't allow a woman alone to go on pilgrimage unless she is accompanied by her husband, father, real brother, or real son, not otherwise. And she didn't have any of them. So then she didn't know what to do. So there was a friend of hers who told her that I know a man who may, if you marry him, he will make sure that you can go for pilgrimage. So she said, okay, I want to meet him. So then she met my grandfather, who was at that time a Muslim. So then she met my grandfather, and they used to come and exchange Quran Sharif and the ayats and wanting to see how, because my grandfather was a Baha'i. They wanted to know what kind of Baha'i is he, what is Baha'i faith. Actually, she did not know. So he used to come every day in the evening or at night when she finished his work, and my grandma also. And they had a big curtain between the two of them. And of course, some people will be there also, especially this friend of his, theirs. And then they would exchange the Quran Sharif and see the ayat of Quran Sharif and the Baha'i writings, and they will study together. And then after 2 years of investigation, she accepted the faith and became a Baha'i. And then after she became Baha'i, she decided to get married to this man. So they wrote to Abdul Baha, and Abdul Baha gave permission, and they got married. So after the marriage, of course, my daddy was born. Okay. So she was a great scholar. And then, of course, as she knew Arabic because she was a Hafiz of Quran, So she could study the holy writings of Baha'u'llah and the Bab in Arabic, in original languages. So she studied those and was a great scholar, and she used to go and teach the faith. She used to come to the Baha'i Center in Bombay with the and teach the faith in openly. Whenever there was a thing, any public meeting, she'll be very free to speak to any number of people. And she used to support her son, of course. Naturally, if he had any question, anything to ask us also when we were young, she used to tell us the stories and teach us, and we learned quite a bit from my grandma. Every night we used to be with her and on her bed and say, Grandma, I want to hear stories. She said, yes, I'll tell you. And it should be stories from the dawn breakers or from the Baha'is and things. And or from Gita and from Mahabharata and others also. And when she'll be telling us the story from Quran also. So when she's telling us the story, there was one condition that we used to say, Hunkara, they say, yes, yes, Dharma. We have not gone to sleep, we are listening to you. And then she kept, once the minute we don't say Hunkara, we don't say yes, she will stop telling us stories, that you have gone to sleep. So we used to hear from her stories every time, just repeat again. And so we learned a lot of this thing. And I'm sure my daddy must have learned from her too. But as I say that, by that time, he was a grown-up man and already a scholar himself. No, but still she was a great orator.
Name the Burmese President of India or any other famous person whom the Munje in
Yes, there were many. The Prime Minister Nehru, he met what to call it, President Rajendra Prasad, the first president of India. Then he met this one, Dalai Lama, and many of the ministers, state ministers, he met.